how much time are we investing, talking about culture here, are we doing to shape a culture that is going to be more productive than my feelings on the one that we have in existence as of right now?
So as a whole, would you say that black culture is trash in 2021 as a whole?
The word black, the words African American, the assimilation of westernization.
Let's go! Yeah, we back, part 2.
Yo.
Saw a little bit. What happened, Keith? Keith out of it? Appreciate y'all rocking with us every week. Got part 2 of Mr. Utley coming with some knowledge for us. We want to continue on with the conversation. Is black culture trash?
Hello.
Now, I want to circle right back into what we did on the last episode when it came to victims and who's pushing the agenda. I want to dig deep into who's pushing the agenda when it comes to our culture. Because some people will agree that black culture is trash, and some people will say it's not. And then there'll be some people that'll say that the culture is pushed to us, like it's given to us and we're accepting it. And then some people will be like, we create the culture, so we're the problem when it comes to people say that the culture is trash.
Well, like the good example as far as culture, I'll give an example like the NAACP. We made the highest operational position,
Right.
CEO.
See?
But we are not the owners of the NAACP.
ET, all HBCUs, all that.
So
Not the owners of
when it comes down to Mos Def had a song on one of his albums called The Rape Over.
great rapper.
And on that song, he had a 2 words that said, "This tall Israeli is running the rap game." He woke up the next morning and that song was pulled from his album. So he was acting like, at that time, the CEO of Def Jam
He was a Def Jam at the time.
was Cohen,
Oh.
who happens to be an actual tall American Israeli. So it was true for what he was saying. But they said, but you can't say that on the airwaves. You can say B and sell drugs to this one and end that, but you can't
say that.
You can't say that.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times when you're talking about the culture that's pushed upon us, I agree with that because they are the CEOs. And at the end of the day, they make the determination what is hot and what is not, and what is going to play, and what needs to change, and what can be on the airwaves. So, yeah, I think some of this culture is shaped a certain way and pushed upon us.
No, but okay, I like to, get the fine lines where it's pushed on us, but we accept it. It goes in a realm of that's one thing that I think they can't control is our money. You got money in your pocket. If I have something that you don't want, you're not gonna buy it, right? So it goes in a point where if it's an album, it's a record, it's a movie, it's a TV show, it's a skit, whatever you want to say. If it's wrong for our culture, how you gonna put it on them to say they're pushing it when we're buying it?
Does money rule our society?
It does. But
so now, when you buy an album, do you pay taxes on it?
Yes.
Where does that tax money go?
To the government.
To the government? That's what they say. It goes to the government. Supposed to. I guess supposed to.
And that's why one of my brothers, I miss, Dick Gregory, who says that I really can't complain about the system. So I get it. Like, I can't complain or I can't pull the victim card because I pay taxes. That was his quote. So yeah, a lot of times. But then I say, like, so go into the grocery store. when you go to the international aisle,
Right.
you got tacos, you got salsa,
Right.
you got soy sauce.
Mhm.
What African brand do you see in the international aisle?
Good question.
And then when you go down to the hair products aisle, which is finally has our picture, you see our face now on some gel.
Well,
Yeah.
African products.
But who owns L'Oreal?
Not us.
80% of all Hennessy sales comes from who?
Us.
Hennessy does not use any black distributors.
No.
They do not use any black advertisement media outlets. So yeah, it's our money, but again,
But we're still buying it.
But I think-
what other, and that's why I use the grocery store. What other options are there? Are they making those options available to us?
So your premise is saying that we don't own anything, so we have no choice but to buy what they have. Is that what you're saying?
That's part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're the biggest
That's
one.
but that's not in all instances.
Yeah, it's not in all.
But
But
when it comes to the
I want to say this though. I've been a big, I study a lot of generals and things like that. A lot of stuff comes to psychological warfare. When you put stuff in front of people, the more you put it in front of people, the more likely they tend to like it and gravitate towards it. You think about all the songs that you didn't like, but you just hear it over and over and over again, then all of a sudden you start singing it and you start going along with it. I think a lot of it too is, like Ali said, they control the masses, so they control what they put in front of you and what you listen to so much that it's hard, like Ali said, to see the other
I
options
don't
and
care
everything
about
like that.
hard no more, man. Otherwise, we got to get out of it. That's when it goes back to the victim chain. It's like I get upset with it that we keep on making excuses about everything. It's just like it don't matter what it is. We go back to, but they're doing this, but they're throwing it in front of us. But why can't you just say no?
I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's just they don't see
Reality.
it. It's reality to them.
Then how long we gonna be in there again? How long we
That's-
gonna keep on saying, oh, I can't because they keep on putting it in front of me, so I have to get it.
But that's the thing. A lot of victims don't even know that they're victims. That's the problem. That's where they're at. That's why it's such a stronghold.
If I feel like
because
every day.
because like, but you already seen outside of it.
I want to hear. So, what do you suggest then, or like, what's your angle with it then?
What we're doing now is trying to influence better to get.
But that's
Don't say
visual.
that.
That's visual
I
representation.
gotta see it.
So you're standing against the grain. You got to go against the grain.
Yeah.
You got to go against your own people to a certain extent because we don't even support each other. Look at where we're at now.
Mhm.
Look at where we're at now. We've been doing this for a few months. Look at where we're at now. If we don't have all of the things that we just talked about that is demoralizing our culture, then our own people don't gravitate to it as fast. For us to be successful or to spend with each other, we want to see if you make it. We want to see if you fall. We want to see how far you go. So it's hard for us to get far when we don't even got support from our own people.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Most of us have to go outside the culture, build our foundation, get a leg to stand on. Then they be like, oh, I see you. You know what? I did hear about that. Now I can support you.
And I want to talk about also time frame, right? Let's say a generation means the difference between you and your parents' age, and then from your parents' age to your grandparents' age.
Right.
And we got to understand that, again, I don't support the victim card,
Right.
but slavery to a lot of people didn't end to the 1980s. There's a lady who has this great following called, she's the slave detective. Showed this brother in Alabama, kept from media, he kept from TV, and again, not pushing the victim card, but at the same time, we acting like because the pictures of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in black and white, we think that would happen a long time ago.
True.
We're talking about decades. We haven't even got to centuries yet.
At all.
Right.
So we are on a great trend by being where we at today and doing what we are doing exactly at this point today. So we are on a trend, but I'm just saying that the victim card cannot be tossed this quickly. Again, it's only been a few decades where we're going against the grain and going against a system that has again been built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So we got a lot of work to do. So I love the phrase, he who plants the seed may not get to enjoy the shade of that tree. So the work that we put in today, we may not even see things come from.
You make a point. It's just I just feel so strongly about this,
Yeah.
and After a while, you just keep, as I'm getting older, I'm watching things and I'm watching how we're progressing. I just want us to be better. That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes tough love is sometimes needed, and sometimes tough love can be damaging. So I have to find a fine line, and that's why we're on a growth podcast. And me tending to people's needs, and I'm working with that. Y'all not just learning, I'm learning too. He's learning. We're all learning that.
Right.
I'm just rough. I believe in a little bit of tough love. So when I come off saying that we need to progress a little bit faster, I mean in a good way. I just want us to be better than yesterday and better than 10 years ago and better than 30 years ago.
Like we
I
got,
just want that for us so passionately that it may come off a little bit rough, and I'm not sensitive to our oppression, like you said, and things that have been going on. I just want us to be good. I just want us to elevate, man.
It's
because we have so much greatness in us that we just want to stay lower. I want our mind frames to get on that we can own things, we can be better people. That's all I care about. That's how I feel.
It's simply because we have all of the workings, the makings, the knowledge, the capability. So that's why it becomes like why don't you see it?
I want us to be, I want us to kill it.
But
It
that's
just
why-
makes me,
But that's why I think things like what Utley is doing, as far as promoting our African culture before slavery.
Right.
Because you think about our first introduction to black people in school is
slavery.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
then
and I can tell
abolitionists
you
and
from my
civil rights
experience,
movement.
I grew up in a mostly white class. So then you get the stuff, ooh, back in the day you would have been my slave or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. So you think about the inferiority that kind of stuff instill in people as a young kid. You know what I'm saying? As a young kid,
It's
and then you
programming.
gotta constantly, if you don't have the structure at home, you know what I'm saying, to help you build up that confidence and be like, no, that's not the case. We come from royalty. We come from kings and queens. We a lot of the stuff they taking credit for, we was doing way before them. You know what I'm saying? All of that type of stuff. If we start teaching our African history and start connecting more with that, I think that will increase our morale as a people. And that's why, like, when I tapped in with this dude right here, man, I've been knowing Utley for about, 2-3 years now? And when he started this, I told Utley, I encouraged him. We sat outside for like 2 hours. I'm like, Utley, you gotta give this to the people. Like, people need to hear this, because just my conversations with him.
I was selfish. I was selfish.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had all this knowledge he was just holding, and he'll come and just lay it all out on me in like 3 hours. We just stand outside just talking.
people need to hear this, man. That's why we create this podcast.
And
we
they
get good
do,
men like
man.
you on it, man.
And it did a lot for me, far as, you know, realizing like, yo, man, we more than slaves.
Come on, man.
Because that's, you know, every time I think about us, I think about slavery.
Yes.
I think slavery. We come from slaves. But no, we had a whole illustrious history before that of amazingness, of culture, of civilization,
technology,
morality. You know what I'm saying?
Hierarchy.
Understanding how to treat our women,
first
all
one
of
on
that
the
stuff,
planet,
man.
First
So you
planet.
think about it,
They
but
already
we don't.
proved it
But we
time
don't.
and time again.
It don't get promoted, and that's why I feel like when we talk about like really wanting to uplift our people, I think the first step, especially maybe not so much like I said with our age, but instilling in our children the history, our African history, and the illustriousness of it, and how amazing we are, because that's instilled a sense of like greatness in us. You know what I'm saying?
But here are some numbers to just process, right? So they give us 1 month out of the year, right?
The shortest one.
The shortest one. So out of 28 to 29 days, depending on the leap year or not, out of 180 days of a school year, we only learn about us at that time. And everybody that's taught during those 28, 29 days came from slavery.
Yep.
There's no Queen Nzinga. There is no Victoria Montu. There's none of those stories. So now, but when we think about also our day, so 8 hours out of the day, our children are at school. When they come home, more than likely, they want to unwind. They want to get on the laptop. They want to get on the phone, YouTube videos, catch up. You get home, you trying to also unwind.
Exactly.
Now I got to get in the kitchen, prepare dinner. And hopefully we keep this tradition going. Dinner time means everyone put away your phones, we eat at the table. But then after that, you may ask 1 or 2 questions. How was your day? How was school? Then we send them back to their rooms. It's almost now getting ready for bedtime.
Right.
We want to be alone with the missus. We want to be alone with the mister. So how many hours a day do we actually spend with our youth? on telling them anything about us. Because 8 hours, they just learned everything about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson.
Yep.
We're not combating. So, again, we don't want to toss the victim card, but at the same time, what are we doing to make sure that we do not become a victim?
We tapped in that a few episodes ago
Okay,
when it came to having both parties being able to work all the time.
Yeah.
And the first teacher of it is the woman. So the culture is pushing. We push that. We ain't gonna dip deep into that, but the culture, that's the whole culture. Is everybody's working, everybody got to make money, everybody do their thing, and then the kid is just left to the school.
Yeah.
The mom and the dad and the teacher is school. Schools all the time. They're the one that's educating most of the time.
So when my kids come home, that's my first question. What did you learn today? And I remember one time my son felt proud.
We do.
And he said, "Oh, Dad, we learned about Benjamin Banneker." And the only thing they teach about Benjamin Banneker in schools is that he's the architect for the White House.
Right.
So, still highlighting their culture,
Yeah.
right? So then I did say, do you know about Banka? Banka is his grandfather. And his grandfather was known in the community to go out and tell people that he is from West African royalty. And I gave him a little bit more information, and then he just kind of gave me that look like, "Nah, Dad, they ain't teach us that."
Exactly. What's that? Yeah.
So again, how much time are we investing, talking about culture here, are we doing to shape a culture that is going to be more productive than my feelings on the one that we have in existence as of right now?
So as a whole, would you say that black culture is trash in 2021 as a whole?
The word black, the words African American, the assimilation of westernization,
Yes.
yes, it's not beneficial to us in any aspect, in my opinion.
I feel you.
As a whole, I agree. As a whole, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think, Paul?
I agree, man. I agree, yo.
We have to change it. We have to change it.
And we working on it. And we not saying the people, because it's not our people.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure we get that distinction. It's not we love our people. It's just the things that the culture that we in right now. It just we come from better. You know what I'm saying?
We can do
come from
so much
greatness.
better.
Yeah.
So much better.
But see, now I'm gonna just speak briefly on this, but during the 60s when we was raising our fist and screaming Black Power, and we had the riots, Watts, Detroit,
Black Panthers. Black Panthers 60s, right?
yeah.
Black Panthers, we had that. We had Malcolm out there.
Yeah, so what happened was, I ain't gonna call no names, but some people got hip to the game. Like this is a situation.
Okay.
So the curriculum that was created, and we got to understand that the importance of those first 7 years of a child.
Absolutely.
It's crucial.
It's crucial.
Yep.
Because what goes into because they say that between 7 and 9 is the age of reasoning. But prior to then, everything that we are soaking in, these create these behaviors that we are taking. Most psychiatrists would say, show me a 7-year-old and I'll show you the man or woman that person will become. Our behaviorism is already established by the age
goes back
7.
to what was your childhood like? It always goes back.
So now, until we, again, flood more information when that crucial point is there, it's I'm in a state of mind like we got to create a whole new culture, and a culture that is influenced by, and no matter what it is, but we got to be the mouthpiece. We can no longer be just the CEO. We got to be chairman.
Yeah.
We got to be owner.
Yeah, we can't be regulated
And setting
by
the agenda. No one can be involved in the process where we need, because again, nobody in history, and again, not pushing on a victim, but nobody in history has been stripped of their spirituality, their names, their culture.
Very true.
So again, we got a lot. So therefore, it's gonna take a lot catch up, and we got to start this process. Now, I'm more interested in action.
Facts.
So when Paul said, what do we do next? That's where I'm at right now with all of this. And that's why I took these initial steps that I'm taking now with the lectures and with the podcast.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Exactly.
You taught me plenty during this 20, 30 minutes right here that I didn't know, even though I've taken 2 years of Black history in college, and still they didn't even touch most of it. They give me a little, you know, the outside, the crust of it, but they didn't give me the goods. They didn't give me the insides of really what was going on. Just because I aced a few tests doesn't mean I really know about my culture. So I want to thank you for even acknowledging some things that I didn't even know about us being kings and queens and stuff like that. They don't teach that a lot, even in college. Pay for the education.
Exactly, man. And so we just want to thank Ali for
Yes, sir.
joining us
Yes,
again,
sir.
man. It was amazing. Man, y'all understand y'all got a great history lesson, man, and great dialogue right here.
Yeah.
Right.
So y'all make sure, man, y'all tap in with us. Make sure you tap in with Ali. We'll have his information at the bottom.
In the description, everything, man.
Exactly, man. So y'all take care. Peace.
Yeah.